I already feel taller standing on the stool below my feet. Well, I think I don't need that. So let's say one thing, that I'm truly honored and delighted to be with you here. And I want to thank all of you for being here on a Monday morning to listen to us, to participate in this event. So let me begin by saying one thing, is that it has been a great privilege to hear so many people speak on their experiences. Theorizing is over. Practice is reality. And my experience of life has been, since I went to the US in 1991, joined Reserve Bank in 1978 as a probationer, is that you have to be a perpetual learner. The thoughts that have been coming to my mind is sitting here, and that has a direct relationship when I went to the US in 1991 to champion India's liberalization program. There is so much good about us, but the world hardly knows about us. You heard Shyamji say that people were wanting our way of life, our culture, our traditions, but we are not talking about it. That's what angered me. I'm a man driven by action. Theorizing is one side, practice is yet another. Sitting and watching an IPL match, we can all hit a six sitting in our easy chair. But when it comes to doing it, that's when the life becomes tougher. And how we do things is part of our life. So since there is important role media plays. Now, what does media do? Think about it like this. And I will relate it with my own experience. When I went to the US in 1991, print media was the only way information was shared. We used to say information is power, knowledge is power. But in reality, action is power, in my opinion. Because I'm a follower of Swami Vivekananda. His 3 letters defines my life. Arise, awaken, and assert. These are the 3 A's he gave, to which most humbly I added my 4th A, is act. Because if you do not act on your knowledge and information that you have, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Look at this concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We have all been aware of this knowledge for how many years? Think about it. How many years we have known about it? But we are talking about it in a global platform as a global concept in 2023. My appeal to all of you is, let's not wait for 21, 23 to talk about this again, how beautiful this concept is. We have to do something to make this translatable, actionable, and livable for all of us around us. Now, here is another dimension. Why did I shift into the TV media? I'll tell you something very interesting. When I was in the US, we used to make a phone call to India at that time. It used to cost $3.50 per minute. And then you had to wait for hours to make that call. Today, we live in a world with the use of an iPad, an iPhone, to use a classic Hindi phrase, "Duniya hamari muthi mein hai." Think about it. With this palm in your hand, this iPhone or smartphone in your hand, there is no information and knowledge that is not available to you. The question that you must ask yourself is, what am I doing with that? What am I doing with that? Today, you can gather any knowledge, any information right on your iPhone or whatever instrument you use. But if we are not doing something about it, then it doesn't matter. Then we are as good as a cabbage because we are not acting on it. So the point which I'm trying to make is the tectonic shift brought by technology has changed the world, the total landscape in the way we communicate now. This show 20 years ago would not have been able to be known by anybody. Some print media would print in 5th or 6th page and we would not know about it. Today it is live. The whole world is seeing it. That is the power of media today. And what does media do? It builds narrative. It tells the story. It tells the story about an event. And what you have to be careful about is that how media plays that narrative. So, India used to be a snake charmer country of elephants. It is not that today. Today it is known as a center of youth, power, knowledge, and programmers and what have you. I remember a senator once told me in the US, "We love you Indians as immigrants to our country. You are educated, you work hard, you are in the highest median income, you have family values, you take care of your children. You are not a law and order problem anywhere in the world as an immigrant community, and you ask for nothing. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a definite art in asking a question to get what you want. If we don't tell who we are, why would anybody care for us? So we have to have, I requested Rajniji to create an institution where we ourselves become our own pravaktas and pracharaks. It's not propaganda. It's to be able to speak about ourselves, who we are, what we do, what we stand for. If we don't make that stand, then we always languish. It was an honor to meet Mr. Muhammadji, and I was jokingly telling him, here is Muhammad, but where is Muhammad? Thank you very much. It's a real delight to meet you here. I'm equally honored to see United Consciousness members here from all over the world. And I was delighted to see the impact of entertainment and music that our Korean friend quietly slipped into the dancing mood. See this entire messaging? That entertainment and media influences you. You begin to float into the moment, and entertainment, music has no language. There is no barrier. It has no religion. The point which I'm trying to drive at is how do you become instrument of actions? And I'll tell you a very interesting story that happened to me while I was working with American Express here in Delhi. Whatever I did, my boss called me one day and he said, I believe you are the one who are responsible for creating this product and structures that you have done. I said, yes, I am. He said, you must tell me that. Otherwise, how would I know about it? Because success has many claimants, just like we were told just now that yoga has many acquisitions in many countries. They call it their yoga. They say Om is religious, but the importance of Om, what it is, stands for, is a universal sound. It has no religion, but it is very religious. Make that distinction between the words, how it impacts. It's a sound, because sound is everywhere. And that's what is important for us to share that thought. So my boss told me, if you don't tell me what you do, how would I know? It's not about blowing your trumpet or beating your drum. It's letting people know who you are, what you do. That's the message Swamiji's struck in my head, that I was listening to him. I'm a believer in him, arise, awaken, and assert, but I was not practicing it. From then on, I began to practice that, because the world must know. And in my interaction with the world people that I meet with, they always ask me, why do you worship so many gods? Why you do this? Why you do that? There are normal curiosities. And what the media we have to use today is to convey the meaning of what we do in their language, not in an esoteric value of our own, because they have no idea what our esoteric value stands for. So it is very important to convey that to them in their language. And I will give you 2 examples of that, my experience. When, after a work was over, we were sitting on a dinner table, the CEO of the company asked me, can I ask you some tough question about your faith? I said, sure. Why do you worship so many gods? I said, we have also one. I know that, you know that, there is only one God. But there are manifestations. So I just told him, do you go to the same doctor for all your treatments? He was totally taken aback. I said, will you go to an orthopedic surgeon for your heart problem? Would you go to a bank to loot, or you will go to the bank to borrow money? It is important for them to recognize the reality of it, that you go to a hospital, which is a temple for healthcare people, you go to the specific doctor for your treatment, and you come out. Nobody else bothers you. And that's what I told him, that you have to understand this in that respect, that we have gods which are same thing like you have St. Peter's, and you have St. Xavier's, and you have Augustine's, and you have Mother Teresa. You anoint them to a particular position. That's why we have the concept of Maryada Purushottam, people who rise above the normal level and become special in our lives. That's what leadership is all about. So the point which I'm trying to drive at to you is that, living in a world of rising expectations, And equally sharp expressions of angst and frustrations has become a tool of the media for people to see. You see it all the time. I don't need to narrate specific stories to you. But the important part for us is how do we manage the narrative of who we are, what we do, and what we mean to the world. Culture is critical. You know, look at it this way. I am a strong believer that right now, the communist leftist ideologies have brought about a very interestingly dangerous concept of equity and equality that is being bandied about all over the world. But look around yourself. Are we same? Are we identical? No, we are not. Even identical twins are not the same. What I want to say is, my thought process is, if we do not respect individual differences, if we do not accept individual differences, all talk of equality and equity is meaningless. It doesn't matter. Because all of us have different talent, different skill sets, different height, different abilities, but each one performs in a different manner. Yesterday, a speaker was talking about reservation policy. And this is something, again, very dear to me, because we are all part of the process, beneficiaries or sufferers. But take the example of sports. My company, Human Potential Project, is all about that, to bring out the best in every single individual from their performance point of view. And performance matters. Whether you are playing sports, whether you are in the armed forces, whether you are in a corporate world, everywhere performance matters. Nobody gets an Olympic medal because you belong to a specific community or whatever. It all matters is performance. And how do you become a performer? How do you become a learner? You become a learner because you are continuously trying to become better. That's what sportsmen and military people do. They are battle ready all the time. They are ready for the Olympics all the time. In the civil life, and what do they do when they are ready? They are practicing, 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 and practicing. That's what we have to do, to take our values in front and make them acceptable. We have to be able to talk to them in the manner that we must. And that's what happens when you learn our own faith and culture. Time is short. I can give you an hour-long talk on this. We have talked a lot about this on Jaipur Dialogues and in my TV shows. But there is one point which I wanted to emphasize on. And that point is, every one of us has a trigger point. Something that makes you say, oh no, this far and no further and no more, enough said. For me, that trigger point reached when I looked up the 1941 census of India. You can Google it right now, because we have that instrument. There were only 145,000 British in this country at that time, plus women and children. Guess what? They were ruling us millions. They were ruling us millions. How did that happen? And I wondered, what happened to our Vedic knowledge? What happened to our ability, our shastras, shastra, astra, and everything else? We were not using any of it. We allowed somebody to rule us. Why did we let it happen? Think about that's what you must take away from this session today. This session and the entire sessions of G20 that we are talking about, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Why do we let people do to us what we do not want them to do to us? That's what is important. I have 2 more minutes, and I will say something, one more thing. RBI Bangalore in 1983, in the neighborhood, we had invited a famous Harvard-educated management consultant. His name was Mr. Vardarajan. And he said something very remarkable. He said, Indians do not need to go abroad to learn the lessons of management. We have to study Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, and Mahabharata stories, our own texts. The lesson, thank you. All the life lessons of success is right there. I was given this small copy of Bhagavad Gita in Delhi just a few days ago. The reason for this one is very important. Astra, Shastra, and Shastra is part of our very being. We have to learn how to protect and defend our dharma. Dharma is not religion. We have all heard what dharma is, but do we understand it? I was told by the maker of this book, he said, we need to carry Bhagavad Gita with us because we have abandoned our Shastra completely. And that's what is important, that to protect and defend ourselves, we have to arise, awaken, assert, and act. One last thing that I wanted to add here is that, talking about this element, caste system, in the US, we are being hit hard on the caste basis. But I have always questioned my own people that let's talk about a Varna system, which is what our life is all about. Respect and dignity for people who do whatever they do is critical for our life to become better. The dignity of labor, dignity and respect and acceptance for anything that anybody does. So here is an example. Somebody in New York said, oh, the sanitation department people are so lousy people that they haven't done their work. I said, if those people don't do their work, your 6-acre plot will look dirty. Don't look down upon the job, or don't look down upon the one who is doing the job. We have to respect, accept everything that one does. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of time. But I'm very delighted that I had the opportunity to speak with you. Dr. Vikrant Tomar, Chinmaya Mission, they have done a massive thing, and I was told yesterday that this is one of the finest conferences of the G20 arena, and I'm very honored to be part of that. So thank you very much. I am very delighted to be here. Vanakkam, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat. I always end my shows by saying, Satyameva Jayate, truth must prevail, and we must fight for it. Thank you.